What's up, money growers? It is Jacob back here coming to you guys with one of those videos that's going to be much more conversational and it's much more ask the audience in this kind of video. And I like doing these and mixing these in with, general videos about credit or finance or, side hustles, money apps, money saving apps, things like that. I like to do some of these that are more discussion, ask the audience, and get people's feedback. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I went to school for so many years and all at college that I enjoy the discussion. I don't know. I enjoy discussing some of these ideas and hearing sometimes, because some people can give really great feedback. So I know a lot of you being in finance, being into money and that kind of thing, give some really insightful feedback and probably know a little bit more about this kind of subject we're going to talk about than just the average person does. I would like for more people to know about this subject, but it's not taught in school. A lot of us are not taught this in the home. And, even coming from someone who's got a bachelor's and master's degree in business, a lot of this stuff I'm going to talk about in this video, definitely not taught in school. I can tell you that much. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, because every once in a while we'll do a video like this among, the other videos I talk, more of how-to videos and informational videos with credit cards, business, finance, stuff like that in general. And this is going to be talking about taxes and the tax system we have here in the United States. And the U.S. tax system, and is it unfair? And really even the way you ask it, is it unfair? I mean, that could be taken pretty subjectively and it can be taken a lot of different directions, right? Fair versus unfair, right? You hear people saying, people need to pay their fair share, but they really don't ever give like a percentage of what that means, right? It's a pretty vague term. Not getting so much into that part today as far as, like percentages and what people quote unquote should, right? Because even the word should, right, that can be subjective. To what people should be paying and that kind of thing. So, I mean, these are things you could debate and argue all that you want. But I mean, in terms of, think of what is available in the US tax code. There's so much available that you and I don't even know about. The options that we don't even know exist. And I don't know how many thousands and thousands of pages, the US tax code is, but it's huge. It's obviously massive and every year it changes and things get added, probably more added than subtracted. But then when it comes to the tax code, some things make the news, things that are big or things that are going to affect, most of like the middle class, the general population. But when you get to the business side of things, and part of what inspired me to make this video and got me thinking about this was, I've learned some more stuff about taxes in the last few years, being someone who makes a full-time income online here, right? And being a business owner and starting off just as a sole proprietor, doing YouTube, on my channel, Jacob's Life in Vegas, for the first few years. I mean, that channel cost me more money every year than I was making. And I was losing money. Like, even if I was making some ad revenue, I was still putting more in every year than I was getting back from it. And then took a few more years, and then it became a full-time income for me. And that's where I'm at today. And I've got a second channel I'm doing right now here, Money Growth Project, that I just like to do. I like the topic of business and finance and that kind of thing. And a lot of the Vegas stuff is, now I can do a lot of that stuff in my sleep, talking about certain topics. So as I'm getting more into this though, and now running, two channels, right, which are two separate businesses for me. They're each their own separate legal entity. So, I've got I used to have everything in a personal bank account. I was doing it out of for business. Now I've got a personal bank account and I've got a business bank account. Obviously, I've got, separate tracking for business expenses and things like that, deductions, all that kind of stuff. But when you get deeper into this, you start to learn what's available for business owners. I mean, I learned right, if I go to a conference, right, I can deduct that kind of thing. Camera equipment, right, microphones, stuff like that. You can deduct those things. Those are things But when it comes to like things like, particularly on my Vegas channel, because over there I do lots of like lifestyle and travel. I mean, things like, there's part of the image, like my face, okay? Like this face is part of the brand. So things I do just with my image, right? If I get a haircut, if I, go do, if I already get manicure, pedicure, stuff like that, stuff to take care of my body, personal training, supplements, gym memberships, things like that, or tax write-offs. Because my business is over there is, lifestyle and travel, right? If I was just doing this channel for finance, it'd probably be kind of hard to pull some of that stuff off. But nonetheless, I mean, when you learn of what's available and things you can do, I mean, just think of, being able to go to a conference for a business that you own, right? For your business. Go to a conference, I mean, VidCon every year be in Orange County. I would go to that. So you can go to Orange County, go to VidCon, and, obviously you're going to be there at the conference, right? You're going to be learning, you're going to be trying to build your business, build your brand, and become better at being a content creator online. But you can also go to the beach when you're down there, right? You can also go to Disneyland, right? And that trip is tax deductible. because you're there for business. Your hotel stay, your meals, things like that. Obviously, your gas, your airline ticket, right? So if you're flying there, your ticket. If you're driving, the gas. I mean, you can deduct that stuff. And even if your business isn't making money yet. So when I first started going to VidCon, I wasn't making a profit at the end of the year. So, I mean, just learning that. I mean, so somebody could start a business and first few years, even if you're not making money, you can still take deductions because the IRS knows you're not going to be making money. It'd be rare for a business to start making money like in the first year or two, okay? But people can start a business and you can go 2, 3, 4 years. Heck, I think I had one CPA said he's had people who do like 5 years of having a business where they lose money every year the first 5 years, and they're still able to take these deductions. Because after a certain point, the IRS is going to be like, okay, this is a hobby, this is not a business. You're not making any money, then this is a hobby, it's not a business. So you lose these deductions. But even if that happens, for those years you were building your business and you're trying to get off the ground, you can take all kinds of deductions. And that's the thing, is like these deductions are there really for everyone. So that's part of the thing. You could say, well, it's unfair that you're a business owner and you get these deductions that employees don't get. But also you can make the case, you could say, hey, these deductions are there for everyone, right? Like it's the same rules for everybody. The tax code is the same, but it's whether or not you know it, or whether or not you put yourself in a position to learn it, or put yourself in a position where you can utilize some of these rules. Because that's really what it is. It's learning what the rules are. So if you want to deduct something, I've heard this said before, where I think it was a guy who was a CPA. He said, the question is not, can I deduct this? The question is, how can I deduct this? So he was saying how, like, say there is an expense you want to be able to deduct. Say there is a trip you want to take. Say there is something you want to do. So it's like, okay, how can I deduct this? So now you start thinking within the guidelines that the IRS sets, because they're basically setting the rules. And that's why you hear people talk about business being a game. Because just like playing a sport, like playing football. I played football for a lot of years, right? You learn the rules of the game, and then from there you strategize and you learn what you can do, right? And you can try different things out. And sometimes, you learn certain rules or learn certain tricks or certain, you learn some certain tactics you didn't even know you could do, and things like that. Certain things I've learned, I'm like, dude, I could write that off. Like that's a tax deduction, And when you've been an employee for like your whole life, it sounds kind of strange because you're not used to that. But if you're a business owner or you're an investor, that kind of thing, like say you're a real estate investor, I mean, shoot, anywhere you go, you could be looking to buy real estate, right? And even real estate investors, you don't have to own like a certain number of homes or properties, right? I mean, you could be a brand new real estate investor just out searching to buy. Even don't own anything yet. So you could be taking a trip in search of buying a property, even if you don't have any property yet. I mean, and there's rules, there's guidelines to this, but when you start learning those, it's like, holy crap. Like this whole world opens up to you of things you can do and things you can write off. And you're just like, it's amazing. And I'm just like scratching the surface. I'm just one guy, scratching the surface of what's available. So you think of like these huge corporations who've got a whole, army of accountants and CPAs and actuaries and tax attorneys and that kind of thing. And they're using every single conceivable option they can because, you got a massive corporation. You're dealing with, potentially billions of dollars, depending on how big the organization is and that kind of thing. So, so people like at that level, they're playing a whole different game than, maybe someone like you or me who's just one-man show or maybe a small operation or something like that. But even as a small operation, I mean, the things I'm learning about that I can write off and that I can deduct, I mean, it is crazy to think about what's available. Like it gets me excited to be like, holy crap, I can deduct this. So you think about it, it's like, if more people went that route of being an entrepreneur or more people went that route of having a business, even if it's just a side hustle, you can get all kinds of benefits just from a side hustle. So it's a question of like, is it fair? Is the tax code fair? I mean, a lot of it is, the U.S. tax code is written by business owners and written by investors and even people in politics. Oftentimes people in politics, they own businesses, they own real estate. Right? So a lot of these tax benefits that come from owning businesses or real estate, being an investor, benefit them. They get benefit from it. So oftentimes, even regardless of political party, there's benefit. A lot of people in politics, especially they've been there for a while, particularly at the federal level, they're millionaires. Some are multimillionaires. And a lot of them went in and they were not millionaires when they went in. So there's all kinds of ways even they become wealthy. And when they're the ones like setting the rules, right? They can get into an area that, sometimes benefits them more than other people. And that's part of what upsets people. But I mean, a lot of them are millionaires or multimillionaires in politics. So lots of them benefit from these same rules that, business owners and investors and things like that benefit from. Now, sometimes obviously things do happen in politics and laws change that do make things harder for business owners or harder for business investors. They close an opportunity here, but oftentimes, there's an opportunity somewhere else that opens up. So it's just wild to think about, like I said, the benefits, the tax benefits, the deductions you can take, and just what is possible and what is available when it comes to having one business or having several businesses, and just having the amount of cash flow coming in, that you can use to start up another business. I mean, you can give a loan from one business to another business. There's so much that I'm learning now. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So really, let's think of it like that, right? Some people might say it's unfair. And people, when they think of unfair, I think they usually think of huge corporations. They don't think of like just one person running a business or one person with a couple contractors or a few employees or a mom and pop. They think of like the huge corporation taking, advantage or something like that. But really, there's lots of tax advantages for even the small operation. So, let's say, is it unfair, right, that, even small businesses can use a lot of this stuff and leverage it, to grow their wealth, or individuals can, or is it, or say it's totally fair because you could say, like I said, the same laws and it's the same for everyone. It's just whether or not you're in a space where you can actually use those rules to your benefit, or if you took the time to learn them and then build a business, build a side hustle, build something, you can actually use that to your benefit as well. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this. Maybe I'll do like another video later, because as I learn more and more about this, I'm like, damn, dude, this is actually kind of exciting when you learn about, I can write this off, I can write this off. Like, you could do this, right? If I want to do this, I could start a business that starts doing this, and then this becomes a deduction, and it's like, holy crap. It's like the world just opens up to you. So tell me what you think about U.S. tax code. Fair, unfair, just got to learn the rules of the game. Let me hear about it down below in the comments section. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being so awesome. Until next time, keep growing your money.